Over the last 5 years, I went from negative $30,000 to making over $450,000 as a day trader. But you see, the first 3 years came with failure, frustration, and just overall struggling. So if I had to restart as a trader, here's 5 things that took me from 0 to 6 figures as a trader. Starting off with number 1, we need to treat losses like tuition. So I don't want you to consider it failure, I want you to consider it more like feedback. You see, as a human being, you are wired to feel like every single loss that happens to you is considered a massive failure. But at the end of the day, there is no way you can succeed as a trader without going through pain first, because there is no such thing as being a trader that goes straight into trading and then just making money immediately, right? You have to understand that in the beginning of your trading, you're going to go through technological hiccups, you're going to go through problems within your mental state, you're going to go through all kinds of different things that you will consider failure in the beginning of your trading journey. And you see, when I first started as a trader, the first 3 years was all filled with just every single time I had a loss or every single time I had a problem within my trading, I just felt that I was just not worth becoming a profitable trader because I made one simple mistake when it came to my sizing or maybe blowing up one day. And I know that you probably relate to this as well. Instead of going down that route, you need to treat every single loss that you take as paying some sort of small tuition, because the cost of college, for example, is going to cost you, let's say $40,000-$50,000 to go to a university for 4 years. So instead of thinking of it like, oh, this is a really big problem, I'm losing trades, this is making me a failure, instead you have to think about it as, I paid my small piece of tuition, right? Because it's not going to be free. Becoming successful as a trader will never be free. It will cost some sort of tuition. So here's the easiest way to kind of adapt yourself and start treating losses like tuition rather than just like thinking that you're a massive failure when it comes to your trading. What you need to do is every single loss that you take, you need to have it written down. What did this teach me? Why is this loss going to help me become a better trader? And that's something that I wish I did when I first started, because all of my losses just felt like, oh, I'm terrible as a trader and I can't do this anymore and I'm just not cut out to be a trader. But if I simply just wrote out every single loss that I was taking and figured out exactly what purpose that was trying to serve for me when it come to my trading. So for example, let's say that you oversized one time, right? You sized way more than you were supposed to on this trade. That gives you the understanding of how to size in correctly and not blow yourself up in the future. You can use these lessons to continue going forward rather than just immediately shutting yourself down and becoming a loser right there and then. And that leads me to number 2. The main reason why you are losing is almost 70% of the time going to be risk management. You think it's strategy, right? You think that, oh, if only I had one more indicator, if only I had one more strategy, if only there was one more secret thing that I could put on my chart that would make me successful. But no, at the end of the day, it really is just your risk management. You do not have a good enough understanding of how to size properly, exactly where to place your stop loss, exactly how many trades you should be taking every single day. And so this causes you to just do stupid stuff and then you blame it on your strategy, right? Well, we need to fix that. We can't just continue doing the exact same thing over and over again, because at the end of the day, that's just how you continue to lose. So to finally develop a profitable risk management system, we need to have a few key things. Number 1, how many trades are you allowed to take per day? You should have some type of forced amount of trades that you can take per day maximum, right? There shouldn't be like this uncapped amount of trades that you can take per day, because that just leaves you to continue doing stupid stuff throughout the day, right? So let's say you're 3 trades in and you see another setup. You're 4 trades in, you see another setup, you're 5 trades in. All of a sudden, setups are gonna start seeming like they're there when they really aren't. So it's gonna continue to just like make you start forcing more and more setups. And this is the reason why you blow yourself up as a trader consistently. So instead, set a block to how many trades you can take per day. I personally recommend 3. If you're gonna take more than 3 trades per day, then they better be absolutely perfect. For me, I only allow myself to take 3 trades per day. If I take 3 trades, I'm done. The second thing I would do is implement a certain risk per trade on every single trade that you are taking. So what you're most likely doing right now is you're kind of just blindly entering and kind of just hoping for the best when it comes to your positions, not knowing exactly how much you're risking when it comes to your trading. Well, that's a very easy way to blow yourself up quickly. Instead, what needs to happen is there needs to be a set risk and a set amount that you're willing to lose every single trade. When I say risk, I don't necessarily mean how much money you're using on a position, right? So for example, let's say that I have a $50,000 account and I only want to risk 2% per position. This means that I would have to risk about $1,000 on every single trade, give or take. That $1,000 does not mean that I'm using all $1,000. for that position, it means that that's how much I'm willing to lose, okay? So you need to have a set percentage. I always recommend 2% for large accounts and 5% for smaller accounts, but I never go over 5% max risk because honestly, at the end of the day, trading is a game of survival. And if you're not willing to try and survive for as long as possible, well, then you're just gonna end up blowing yourself up pretty early on. So take that 2% or 5%, depending on your account size, and use that as your max loss every single trade that you are allowed to have. This keeps you in line with at least losing a small percentage of your account per trade rather than just kind of letting them fly and not having a number in mind. It's way easier this way. This leads me to number 3, which is pick one strategy and master it. You don't need 10 indicators on your chart. You don't need to master ICT, SMC, all these different concepts, supply and demand, support and resistance, all of these different random concepts that are being thrown at you. Instead, you need to build one profitable system, one trading strategy, and stick to that over a long period of time. You see, you are really focused on trying to cram as many things mentally as you possibly can, and then that's gonna make you a successful trader. That's not the case, right? What's gonna make you a successful trader is sticking to one thing and doing it over a long period of time, back testing it, forward testing it, and being able to actually adapt to market conditions while using that strategy. There's an interesting statistic that I see all the time, and that is gonna be that 80% of traders quit within the first 2 years. And my biggest reasoning for that in my head is that they're trying to flip-flop strategy so much that they're not able to stay in the game long enough, because every single time they try a strategy, it fails. They go to the next one. It fails. They go to the next one. And then all of a sudden they've blown all of their money. Well, for you, you need to avoid that cycle as best as you possibly can. Instead of just jumping from strategy to strategy, pick one and just use that for a long period of time, right? A year minimum for you to test this strategy, at least a year. And when you give it that, you'll realize that every single profitable strategy is profitable. Supply and demand is profitable. Support and resistance is profitable. All of these strategies work. You are just really focused on trying to jump and strategy hop. One edge, that's all you need to focus on. Now, outside of just strategy, there's one really important piece of information that I learned that if I had implemented this in the beginning of my trading, I would have been massively successful really early on. This leads me to number 4, which is set hard daily loss limits and walk away when they hit. What this means is that you need to set a maximum daily amount of money that you are allowed to lose on your account. So let's say that, for example, I'll use the $50,000 account example that I used earlier. For me personally, I'm not allowing myself to lose more than $2,000 on the day. If I lose more than $2,000, that is a max loss and I am done 100%. You have to have some sort of cutoff number. If you don't have a cutoff number, like I said earlier, you are just gonna go down this rabbit hole of like despair, trying to catch yourself, trying to come back from like being in the red, crawling yourself back just to lose all of your money. It's not worth it. So instead, when you hit a daily loss limit, for example, if you hit that $2,000 limit that I talked about earlier, you quite literally should just close your computer and walk away. In fact, if you use something like Top Step X, you can literally see these risk settings and set these yourself. Let's say that I want to have a personal max daily loss limit of $500. You can actually have it so that your brokerage will block yourself from continuing to trade. So I can go ahead and just press lock out risk settings for the day. This will completely lock me out for the next 17 hours and I am not allowed to change these risk settings. So let's say I take a trade on my 50K funded account and I hit my $500 max loss limit. I am done. 100% donezo, right? You are not allowed to continue trading. This is the power of setting something like a max set stop that just basically halts you entirely. So what this tends to stop is you going into that massive spiral where you're like losing, and then it just takes you straight to zero. This will completely stop that. And if I had learned this, I would have changed the game for myself. And number 5, which is probably the most important rule out of all of these, is going to be to create a pre-market and post-market ritual. Now, when I say ritual, of course, I don't mean like, you know, a bunch of people dancing in circles. Instead, I mean a ritual in terms of something that you are going to do every single day and repeat it no matter what. So for me, for example, I wake up every single morning and I go on a walk with my dogs. This is where I will journal my emotions and figure out what's going on. You know, how did I sleep? Am I waking up okay? Was there something that happened last night that might alter my trading? And I start, you know, thinking to myself, okay, how is my trading session going to go throughout the day? I use that 30-minute walk, that time outside, to actually reprogram my mind to know exactly exactly what's going to happen throughout the day. That way, I sort of already get myself ready. I then go to the charts and I'm able to actually mark out my levels, mark out my pre-market areas. What am I the most interested in for the day? And I let all of my mentorship students know after that. And once I'm done with that, I'm able to sit down and actually trade. I have all my levels already set. Everything's already ready for the day. You have to stop just getting up and going straight to your desk as soon as you wake up. A lot of people will get up and go straight to the desk in pajamas, trade, lose thousands of dollars, and then wonder what happened. Well, you don't have a set schedule. You don't have any discipline. That is quite literally the biggest issue that I see with a lot of traders. And so after that pre-market routine is done, it sets you up and gears you up for the highest potential to have a actual good trading day. Now, you also need to have a post-market ritual as well. For me, I close everything and I go take a shower or I go to the gym. Those are the two things that I do. Now, after that, I'm gonna sit down back at my desk and I'm gonna journal about what happened throughout my day. How many losses did I have? How many wins did I have? What did I do well? And what could I have done better? And if in the beginning of my trading journey, I didn't just sit down and take random trades, God, I wouldn't have went through so much stress trying to become profitable. So now that you have that piece of information, use it. Do not watch this video and then go out and not do any of this, right? If you want to be a profitable trader, if you want to be a successful trader, do this right now. I kid you not. Put this on a sticky note, stick it to your forehead if you have to. It is an absolutely amazing thing to do. Those 5 rules changed the game for me. They took me from negative $30,000 to being up over $450K as a trader. And if I didn't do any of these things, there's no way that I would be successful. Now, there's one last thing that helped fast track my results, and that was getting a mentor. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go with me as a mentor, but I spent over $15,000 working with different mentors and piecing apart different trading strategies so that way I could find the one that works best for me. And now I've taught that to over 400 students of my own. And of course, if you're interested in that, if you feel like you've been struggling and you need to get to the next level of trading and you're genuinely serious about scaling this, making this your full-time income, well then go to the first link in the description and apply for Simply Options Academy. If I had a mentor from step 1, if I had a mentor from even step 3, I would have gone from literally blowing all of my accounts, losing all of my money, to finally making it to the point where I am now. So using a mentor and having somebody to literally watch over your shoulder as you trade is going to literally 10x to 20x your profits and results. I can almost guarantee it, because this is just what happens when you work with anybody that's better than you at something. Of course, if you don't want to do that, you don't want to have a mentor, you need to have as much education as you possibly can. So this video right here that's popping up on the screen is going to go over my entire system, what brokerages to use, exactly what strategy to use, exactly my risk system, my overall psychology system. It is probably the most intensive video that I've ever made, and if you watch it, you're gonna 10x everything, and I could almost guarantee that because it is insanely good. So go watch that video. I'm giving you time to click it right now. Go watch that video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, everybody. Goodbye.